You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, let's talk about some Cleveland Browns quarterback situations. My goodness, yikes. So, a couple of things. Dillon Gabriel's made comments today. Kevin Stefanski has made some comments about Shedeur Sanders' injury and how they're trying to handle it. We got an ESPN insider, NFL insider, Dan Graziano, that is saying this injury to Shedeur could totally screw him out of potentially keeping a job, getting a job, whatever, this season with the Browns. The one thing that we always got to keep in the back of our mind is he was a fifth-round pick. And so, yikes. Right here, the Browns-Eagles joint practice number 2 is in the books. Here's how all 5 quarterbacks performed. Yikes. Guys, I got to be honest. I don't get this. 7 of 10, Flacco, 2 touchdowns, great. Gabriel, 1 of 5, 1 touchdown. 1 of 5? And you go down here, he threw an interception on a 2-point conversion. Yikes. Look at this. Yesterday, 6 of 19, 1 of 5. 7 of 24? Is my math right? Yikes. That's crazy as hell. And I guess my feeling on this is, let me just go back. Why has Snoop Hundley not got any reps on here? Is Dillon Gabriel playing the whole effing game? Snoop Hundley going to play the game with no reps? Because I assume Gabriel will probably play, the first 2 quarters, part of the third quarter maybe. I guess they're just going to throw Huntley out there and be like, F it, good luck, which is kind of what they did this last week. This is crazy. I still don't get all the injuries. Kevin Stefanski, we want to be quote-unquote smart with Shedeur Sanders' oblique injury. Sanders suffered the injury during Wednesday joint practice with the Eagles. Quote, I felt it early. I think I was warming up, and then I felt it throughout the individual drills, so took a look at it, Stefanski said. If it's a right guard, you can play through that. When it's a quarterback, you kind of need that muscle to throw. So unfortunately, going to put him down for a little bit. We'll treat it as day-to-day and see how it responds. But I want to be smart because he's a thrower. You can't push that thing. Stefanski noted that Sanders will get rest and treatment to help him recover. I think it's just with throwers and pitchers and guys that have torque and twist in their body, you've got to be really careful. I mean, he's not wrong about that, but yikes, this is disastrous. It is. For somebody that's trying to make look, we're missing out on something. Everybody's talking about him moving up to like first or second string. I mean, I've said I didn't think they would release him under any circumstances. But he is a 5th-round pick, which means it is always a possibility. Sanders' injury update. Dan Graziano defines setback as, quote, damaging for the Browns QB's future. This is nuts. Sanders is considered day-to-day, unlikely to play in Cleveland's next preseason game with an oblique strain. That's pretty significant setback for the rookie quarterback, which ESPN's Dan Graziano broke down the injury update on Get Up. Quote, that's what we've heard. Day-to-day, won't practice today. Not likely to play this weekend. But obviously, for a guy that spent the entire offseason number 4 on the quarterback depth chart there, this pushes back his opportunity to keep moving up. They saw some positive signs, obviously, in the game when he started it. Sanders was a 5th-round pick, blah, 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 blah. Quote, he started because Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett are hurt, but missed practice time at this point for any rookie quarterback, Graziano said. let alone one that's that far down the depth chart, is going to be damaging in terms of his long-term prospects, in terms of being able to start. So he's saying this injury, which I can only imagine how some of you hearing this are responding right now. He's saying this injury ends his chances or greatly damages his chances of becoming the starter. Wow. That's crazy. But he's probably not wrong. If you go by standard NFL terms, 5th round pick, injury, missing a preseason game completely, yeah, you're probably not going to be the starter. Oh, man. That's going to get, you want to talk about people with conspiracy theories, that's going to get them going right there, because there's a lot of people that believe that the Browns are that Stefanski and Barry are trying to sabotage Sanders. I don't think that's the case. I can't imagine. This is professional football, all right? This is not some bowling league somewhere. I mean, for crying out loud. So, JT DeBrick making some comments, and this guy normally covers the Raiders, but he was weighing in on the Browns and Stefanski and Sanders.
I will say this, please bookmark it and save it. The only way Kevin Stefanski keeps his job in Cleveland is making Shedeur the starter. I repeat, if Stefanski wants to keep his job, because he never wins, nobody ever wins in Cleveland, nobody. The only way Stefanski will keep his job as the head coach is if he makes Shedeur the starter next year. So what I think he should do is let Flacco play, see how many games Flacco can play, and then after week 6 or 7, if the Browns are 3-3, keep Flacco in there. If the Browns are 2-4, keep Flacco in. But if the Browns fail, then you got to go Shedeur. Matt, Shedeur to me, he can save Stefanski's job, because the other guys aren't going to save his job, I can promise you. Not that Shedeur needs to play now, but what do you think is in his development as he started off that preseason game?
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I get that. Number one, the thing about Stefanski not winning, didn't he take this team to the playoffs twice? I know I'm not going crazy, because Alex Van Pelt coached that game against the Steelers, because Stefanski missed that playoff game. Baker was the starter because he had COVID. That was the COVID year. And then he took Joe Flacco, and they made it to the playoffs 2 years. So that's a Cleveland Browns coach that's made it to the postseason twice. I mean, that's like some endangered species kind of shit. That's one reason why I try to go a little easier on Stefanski than a lot of people, because a coach with multiple playoff appearances in Cleveland with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, let's be real. The fan base would have been begging for that the previous 5 years. I mean, Hugh Jackson, anybody. At 2-4, though, I don't know. I would be tempted to start Shedeur Sanders at 2-4. That's not the only way he can save his job. I mean, look, if Joe Flacco takes them to the playoffs, or it takes them to the last weekend trying to get in the playoffs, and they're 9-8 or something like that at the end of the year, then he probably keeps his job. All right. If they go to the playoffs, he keeps his job. So, and that's under Flacco. That's under any of these guys. If somehow, some way Kenny Pickett took them to the playoffs, he's staying. All right. Although I will say this, Dillon Gabriel or Kenny Pickett, say those two names out loud and think, are they going to the playoffs with those two names? No, I don't think so. Which leaves, and of course I've been saying forever, it's going to be Flacco, and then Sanders is going to be QB2. But I don't know that that's the case now that he's missing this preseason game. He may be QB3. which means then you got to go through the song and dance of you're 2-4 after 6 games, and then Stefanski being like, I'm going to burn 4 games on Dillon Gabriel. And who knows? Dillon may be able to play. But boy, as of late, it's looked rough. It has looked rough for Dillon Gabriel. Again, if he was 6'2", it'd be if he was 6'2", he'd have been a first or second round pick. If he'd have been, he might have been a first round pick. He's got the skill. I mean, Chris Sims was just talking about that he's got real quarterback skills. Above average arm, can move around a little bit, pretty good at processing, yada, yada, yada. He's not tall enough to see. And he's not got Kyler. Look, he can move around some. He's not athletic like Kyler Murray at that size. And I'm not sold on Kyler Murray really being a guy either. I don't give a shit if he has made some bullshit playoff appearances. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.